Yo, what's up, family? How y'all doing? Now look, this is a deep topic, right? Now I told you guys, right? I'm gonna give you guys some free information, right? And this is what I want everybody to use for the future, man. Look, this is like so we can break free from the system and start having an understanding of what's really going on. Okay, recently, a few years ago, Copper Moonshine released how to get on the Do Not Detain list, right? So this is a remake version of what he originally made. Now, a long time ago, when everybody was getting put on the Do Not Detain list, right? Pretty much it was easy, it was smooth, nobody was having a problem. They followed Copper Moonshine method. Now, the Department of State called on to the method, and so a lot of people who filled out for the passport application, they sent them a lot of people information back to the the general processing and not the special issuance department, right? So later on, everybody who was filling this application out, they put their information in, and when the police run the information, everything came back, their ID or their driver's license, and that ID or driver's license have all their information, and on top of having all the information, it has the most important thing, how a police can make an arrest, and have your address, right? So I found a way how to become on the Do Not Detain list, whether it says Do Not Detain or strictly just taking you out of their jurisdiction. Now, this right here look like a normal application, but how I'm about to implement it and how I'm about to give you guys full detail in this video is going to bring a lot of common sense, right, on what we used to do wrong, right? So let me turn this light on. So for the very top, it asks you, what kind of passport are you trying to get? Are you trying to get a U.S. passport book, passport card, or both? Most people check off both, so I'll do the same. So for number one, they ask you for your last name, general information. So you're going to put your last name at the top, and right below it asks you for your first name. You're going to put that at the bottom. On the right, it asks you for your middle name. You're going to put that either your middle name or your full middle name. For date of birth, you're going to put your full date of birth for number two. On the right, you can check between your legs, or you can select X if you know transgender or whatever the case might be. If you got your gender changed, you're gonna check off yes. Also ask you for place of birth. Where was you born? So if you put Orlando, Florida, or whatever the case might be, right? Now I tell a lot of people, put your social security number between these brackets, just to give them an idea of what's going on. So put your real social security number, not all zeros. Do not put all zeros. They will deny the application. Again, if you don't have a social security number, they're going to send you a contract, not a contract to sign. You're going to have to declare under penalty of perjury that you didn't get a social security number. I had to do that for my son. For email, you're going to put your email address in. After email address, you're going to put your primary phone number, right? And it asks you this. Now, this is some of the most important thing that I found out, right? It asks you for mailing address. So you're going to put a P.O. box. I want all you guys to go out there and get a P.O. box. You have to get a P.O. box to do this. You cannot do it any other way. Say P.O. box 7916. I just put a random P.O. box name. You're going to put the city, Kissimmee, right? So if you live in Kissimmee, say if you live in LA, whatever the P.O. box is located. For state, you're going to put the state, and you're going to put the zip code USA, right? Now, the reason why I tell a lot of people to do this, because a lot of people always used to put in care of or anything like that. Now, I will advise you guys to put in care of first before you put P.O. box. But if you put P.O. box, it really doesn't change the narrative. But you can put in care of. So put in care of P.O. box. Sorry for not putting this down, but I'm just telling you now. So put in care of P.O. box 7916 or whatever P.O. box number that is tied to you. So put your real P.O. box in care of, put your P.O. box, and put the city, state, and zip code where the P.O. box is at. Also for zip code, make sure you put it in between the brackets. They're gonna ask for country, put USA, right? Now below is one of the most important things, but we're gonna finish this after we're done with the whole entire application. Now, so at the very top, where it says name of applicant, you're going to put your last name, first name, middle initial. And to the right, you're going to put your date of birth, your real date of birth. Your parents' information, so if your father, first name, middle initial, you're going to put your father last name. And right below that, you're going to put your father's date of birth. Then right next to that, you're going to put your father's city. You're going to put your father's state. Spell out the full state. It's nothing special, you guys. Do not go back in this video asking me questions. Should I capitalize it? Should I uppercase it? It does not matter, y'all. They're going to ask you about your father information. Male, and they're going to ask, is he a U.S. citizen? Check off no. No one you knows is a U.S. citizen. So the same method still applies. It's just something we doing extra as a twist. Now, they're going to ask you for mother name, right? So they're going to ask you for all your mother information. So you're going to put your mother first name, middle initial, last name. Then you're going to put the date of birth for your mother. Then you're going to put the city, place of birth. That would be like, say if it's Orlando, Florida. Say if it's Los Angeles, California. Boom, right? Female, check off no for U.S. citizen, right? Now, it's going to ask you, have you ever been married? So if you guys have been married before, if you have a spouse in your previous life or whatever the case might be, make sure you put their full name, right? And then you're going to put their date of birth, and you're going to put place of birth. Place of birth is going to be the same thing I wrote for your parents. So you're going to put their place of birth, city and state. Now, the date of you guys' marriage, you're going to put that. Have you ever been divorced? If you have, say yes. But if you haven't, you could just check off the very top where it says, have you been married? Select no, right? And now, right here in this little box where it says U.S. citizen, check off no for U.S. citizen. You don't know nobody who are U.S. citizen. You just want to make sure that they know that you are not a U.S. citizen. If you've been divorced, you also going to put your divorce date. So right on number 12, it's going to ask you for additional contact phone number. If you don't have an additional contact phone number, just put your phone number in again. It's going to ask you, is it a cell phone, home phone, work phone? Boom. Again, for 13, it asks you for occupation. What do you do in life? Are you self-employed? Are you a janitor? Are you a CEO? What do you do, right? And it's going to ask you for who is your employer or school that you work for. I put Allen B. Shepherd High School, right? They're going to ask you for height, or however tall you is. So you're going to put the height, and you're going to put the hyphen or the comma, whatever, and put the size. So you're going to say 5'11", 6'2", however tall you is. Hair color, black, red, blue, brown, you know the difference. Eye color, hazel, blue, black, whatever your hair color is, it's going to ask you for eye color and everything like that. Travel plans. If you want to get the passport sooner, you want to make sure that you tell them you're leaving within the next 20 days. Do not make it where you tell them, hey, I'm leaving tomorrow, because they won't even have time to even receive your passport, application. They don't get the applications in until like a week after you, submit it at the post office or the courthouse. So you want to make sure you tell them, say, no, I'm going out of town within the next 20 to 25 days. So right now it says October 31st. So October from 31st from right now, about 15 days. But I wrote this out. I've been supposed to drop this video for you guys. So say if you're leaving 20 days from now, you tell them you're coming back, say like a month, 2 months. Most people use Canada. I tell people select Mexico. That's the country you want to visit. Okay, the most important things in this application, they're going to ask you, where do you live? You're going to say rural free delivery, right? Now, a lot of times we'll use a real city, but no, this time you want to be honest. Your city is non-domestic. You do not reside in a jurisdiction. So make sure you put non-domestic, right? And then they're going to ask you the state. You're going to put the state. You can put the initials, or you can spell out the state. It really doesn't matter. So put state, Florida, or whatever state you're in, Louisiana, Illinois, it doesn't matter. Zip code, make sure you always put zeros. All zeros inside the brackets, just so they can pay closer attention to your application. Also, they're going to ask you your emergency contact. So say if I put the person first and last name down, Heaven Willis, they're just a random person. So I would say that person lived rural free delivery, and I would say their city is non-domestic, and I would put the initials on the state. I would put the zip code as all zeros, and I would put their phone number right here. And I would put relationship, sister, brother, wife, it doesn't matter. They're going to ask you, have you ever applied for a U.S. passport, book, or card, or anything like that? If you have, make sure you put yes and put the information down, right? But if you haven't, make sure you select no. And for most of the time, we would just be honest with the Department of State because you don't want them to go back on your paperwork and mess some shit up, and you will be waiting a long time. So that's how you do it to be on the do not detain list, right? But this doesn't, what I just told you guys is not the blueprint, right? This is the blueprint. So most of the time when you guys go to, a post office or courthouse and they show you and they ask you for identifying documents, right? Now, this is what you're going to do at the very end, right? You're going to put without prejudice, UCC 1-308, right? This is going to be the final thing. You don't sign this until you are in front of an acceptance agent. If you sign this beforehand, they're going to mark your application as void, and you got to fill out the information all over again. So back to what I was just saying. So right above, right, it says identifying documents, applicant or mother or father, legal guardian on secondary signature line if identifying minor, right? So they ask you for the ID type. Most people either use a driver's license, a state issued ID card, a passport, military. It's something called other, right? Now, the reason why I say this other is because you can go on the website. I'm about to put in the link right below before this video launch, right? Florida International driver's document, right? So they're going to ask you simple questions. What is your national, what is your passport ID number? You can put, not your passport ID number, your international driver's license ID number. You can put any ID number you want. You can put C1053572 or whatever. You can create any number you want on your international driver's document. And I'm going to drop how to get an international driver's license after this video. Make sure before you guys submit any of this that you go ahead and surrender the ID or driver's license. Go to the DMV and say, I would like to invalidate my driver's license or state ID. Boom. So once you get them the international driver's license, it's not connected to your background. It's not connected to your social security number. They don't ask for your social security number. They don't ask for any identifying things besides your first name, middle name, and last name. And yes, it can be proof as identification. And no, the Department of State will not reject your application due to the fact that you use that international driver's license. And you also, on the international driver's license, make sure you put that your residence, you live in a rural-free delivery, right? That's all you have to put. So this is something like the do not detain list, but it fully take you out of their jurisdiction just because it doesn't have an address on file. If there's no address on file, they're going to want you to admit to an address so they can pull you into their jurisdiction. Never admit to an address with dealing with law enforcement, right? So they're going to put the issue date of the international driver's license. They're going to put the expiration date of the international driver's license, and the state that it was issued in is whatever state you live in. They're going to ask you for ID number. So that international driver's license might have a 10-digit number. So it's up to you to create it however you want, right? So country of issuance. So if you get it from Florida, if you get it from, that's a lot of international driver's license companies, but I know one particular in Florida that they do it. So you can say the country of issuance is the USA. So that's it. So you'll check off other, ID number, and etc. And it fully moves you outside of their jurisdiction. Because I seen the information on the passport earlier. Someone sent it to me because they in cahoots with me, so they went to an officer and got the information ran. Now, they didn't put them as they was a non-citizen national or on a do not detain list, but it pulls them outside of the jurisdiction because it wasn't an ID on file. So my sheriff officer brother, who I talked to, right, he was explaining to me, he said the do not detain list is coming off as if the people overseas, because people overseas, they don't have an ID on file, so the police can't make them a subject to the jurisdiction. So I was like, wow, so if there's no ID on file, there's nothing you can do with those people? He was like, no, because I can't find out who they are and I don't have their information, such as their address, to even prosecute them. And I said, that's crazy. So no ID on file, it fully remove your ID on file, and you can go ahead and apply to the Department of State. They're going to issue you a passport, so anytime the police run your information, it's going to say no ID on file. You strictly out of their jurisdiction. Do not give them jurisdiction. That's why I have classes. If you guys have questions to ask me, if you want to set up a consultation, you can. So this is how you do the whole method on the do not detain list. I'm going to show you guys this. You can screenshot it or whatever the case might be. This is the full video, and it's just a revised version of it since it's been changed. You know, nothing stays the same forever, y'all. They constantly coming out with new methods to keep us enslaved. So I'm gonna make sure I keep y'all updated with all new information I found out. I'm out.